Hey guys, it's Leia speaking, and I hope y'all are having a great November. The month is almost over. I hope y'all have had a great November. So, I've been going through the reading slump of all reading slumps, going back all the way to the beginning of this year. Y'all, I've been trying to read all year and get back into my reading bag, and every month I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna read more. Okay, now I'm gonna read more. Okay, now. Like at this point, it's not a reading slump, it's a reading hibernation. But over Thanksgiving break, I had a lot of free time on my hands. So I went to this Barnes & Noble near my job, right? And I just love being in Barnes & Noble. Like I love being surrounded by books, and I love the pretty books that they have on display. Like even when I don't like the act of reading at the moment, I still just love to be surrounded by books. Like it's always just so cozy for me. So I went in and I was upset because I knew that if I bought any of the really cool and interesting books that I saw, they would just end up sitting on my desk collecting dust for the next like 5 months, right? And it sucks when you really want to read, but you don't want to read, you know? So then I saw this really small book like nestled in the corner of the shelf, and when I picked it up, the cover was like so confusing. Like there were like these weird scribbles on the cover, and it kind of looked like a kid's book. I was like, what is this book? What is it even doing? When I was looking at it, I actually got an idea. I feel like a lot of the time with reading slumps, it gets worse when the books that you have on your TBR are like these like massive books. Like all the books that I've been planning on reading this year are these like epic fantasy novels, dark academia, literary fiction, and stuff like that, right? And I feel like I personally, at least, I get so intimidated by the sheer amount of reading I tell myself that I have to do that like I keep putting it off longer and longer, and that actually like makes the slump worse because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to read all these books. I don't want to do it, so I just keep not reading it and I just keep making it worse, right? So I was like, what if instead of trying to push myself to finish a longer book, I give myself a bunch of smaller like bite-sized pieces of reading to finish, so that way I can slowly build up my appetite for reading again and also build up momentum heading into the new month, so that way I can actually get some real reading done in December. Then I can carry that momentum even further into the new year and actually possibly hopefully make a dent in my ever-growing TBR, right? So I'm still on Thanksgiving break. I know that a lot of people have like went back to work, but like listen, I was not playing. I knew that Thanksgiving we had off and Friday we had off, and then I took this whole week off. So I am good. So I am giving myself, right, before December starts, even though I think when this is getting uploaded, December might have already started, but I am recording this on the 27th. So I'm giving myself the last 3 days of November, the 28th, 29th, and 30th, to read these 3 small-ish books, and they're all under 150 pages, and hopefully that can like kickstart my reading and I can head into December strong. So the first book is obviously the book that I first saw in Barnes & Noble. It's called Morning and Evening by John Fosse. And the synopsis of the book is: a child who will be named Johannes is born. An old man named Johannes dies. Between these 2 points, John Fosse gives us the details of an entire life, starkly compressed, beginning with Johannes's father's thoughts as his wife goes into labor, and ending with Johannes's own thoughts as he embarks upon a day in his life when everything is exactly the same, yet totally different. Morning and Evening is a novel concerning the beautiful dreams that our lives have meaning. So that's like a cute like slice of life type story, and the author is Norwegian, so I feel like it will be interesting to read something different than I usually do and diverge from the authors that I usually frequent. And the page count, it's not too long because these are all under 150 pages, like I said. So the page count for this one is only 107 pages. So that's pretty good. So I can definitely kill that in a day. So the next book is called This Is Amiko, Do You Copy? And the blurb for this one is: meet young Amiko. She's one of a kind, full of life and good intentions, but with no filter or boundaries. Ooh. She happily inhabits a world of her own making, oblivious to offenses given or taken. But when it comes to expressions of love where conflicting signals are hard to grasp and a heart is easily broken, there can be unintended consequences. An aching, tender depiction of belonging and loss, This Is Amiko, Do You Copy? Is a portrait of childhood through the eyes of an irrepressible young girl. Tell me why I thought that word said impressionable. I do not know what irrepressible means. Low key, I gotta look that word up. So apparently irrepressible means not able to get controlled or restrained. I literally, see, I could have deduced that from the word itself. I was being kind of silly with that one. But you see, this is why I love reading so much, because you learn new things and I have to get back into it. So yeah, so that's the plot of the book. Okay, so low key, I think I got the wrong book. I do remember when I was in the store, there were 2 books that were centered around like childhood and slice of life stuff, but I told myself to only pick one because I wanted to get like 3 different books, because I didn't want to like bore myself with the same topic. So I wanted each book to be different from each other. And I thought the book that I purchased was this one about a mom and her kind of journey of rediscovering herself outside of her motherhood. I don't remember the title of that one, but that was the book that I actually meant to buy. I actually might go back to Barnes and Nobles when I go back to work and try to find it. But yeah, I mean, this book does still seem good, and I am still excited to read it. It seems more like a coming of age type thing, which... Listen, I have a love and hate relationship with the coming of age genre. As I've gotten older, I've grown to love it more. But sometimes I feel like coming of age novels can just be very like hit or miss for me. Like they can be very slow pace. And I'm not saying that like I need action all the time, because obviously I don't, because I do love character growth in books, because it's kind of like the whole point for me sometimes, right? But coming of age books, I don't know, man. Hopefully this one isn't, like I said earlier, like it's short, so I feel like the length kind of necessitates a brisk pace. Let me see how many pages this one is. I think this one is a bit longer than the first one, but it's still not too bad. Let me see if I can get the book open. Oh my god, I spelled T on my 2 books, y'all, so they're all kind of fucked up, so like I can't even return them when I'm done reading it, because I love to do that shit. Anyway, this is only 122 pages, so that's not bad at all. That's another book that I can definitely read in a day. So I definitely like should be on pace. I was like kind of worried that maybe I won't be able to finish all of them in a day. But like I said, I'm still on PTO. I have nothing but free time. I'm definitely finishing these books by December 1st. But yeah, it's not too long. It shouldn't be too bad. And the cover is low-key so cute. And low-key the title reminds me of this book I read when I was a kid. It was called Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. And I love that book so much. So hopefully that's like a good sign that I'll like this book as well, because you know, familiar territory or something. Except no, that book was about, it was also about a young girl. I don't remember. Anyway, so the last book and the longest, but not by a lot, it's called Paradise Rot by Jenny Havale. So I heard about this book before because apparently it's gay as fuck, and one of my gay ass friends recommended it to me. She was like, girl, you gotta read this shit, it's good as hell. And I was like, okay, sure, why not? So I've actually been meaning to read this book, and when I saw it in Barnes and Noble, I was like, oh, it's actually not long. I don't know how long I thought it was gonna be, but I thought it was gonna be more than length of a standard novel. But when I saw it in Barnes and Noble, I was like, oh, it's actually pretty short. It's only 148 pages, and I was like, oh, that's not long at all, and I snatched it on up right quick. So the plot, let me actually read the synopsis, because I never read the synopsis. I read the synopsis for the other 2 in the store, but I straight up just got this book without even thinking. Joe is in a strange new country for university and having a more peculiar time than most. In a house with no walls, shared with a woman who has no boundaries, she finds her strange home coming to life in unimaginable ways. Joe's sensitivity in all her senses become increasingly heightened and fraught as the lines between, as the line between bodies and plants, dreaming and wakefulness, blur and mesh. This debut novel from critically acclaimed artist and musician Jenny Havale presents a heady and hypersensual portrayal of sexual awakening and queer desire. Ooh, T. So that sounds interesting. I'm actually getting light dark academia vibes, because you know the girl is like going out of the country for university. That's cool. And I know that I think the title is a play on Paradise Lost, but I never read that book, so if that's a hint to the subject matter, then oh well. So those are the 3 little books that I'm gonna be reading, and I'm gonna knock these out in the next 3 days, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna say if it worked, if I'm excited for reading for December and the new year. I'm hoping this needs to give me good momentum heading into the new year, because I have some catching up to do. So tell me what y'all are reading. Tell me if you know any other books under like 200 150 pages that you recommend, because I do like reading small books in general, and I feel like incorporating like smaller novels into my reading diet, I guess permanently, will probably prevent me from getting into like such a bad reading slump again, because this year was so bad for me. Are you in a reading slump? Were you in a reading slump? How did you get out of it? And if you got any tips, feel free to share. Let me know in the comments below, and give this video a like before you go. Thank you.